Hello guys, welcome to Anita Crochets. My name is Anita. The hook is my magic wand. Please subscribe for gorgeous content. Today we are making this very beautiful bubble baby dress, and I made this for my daughter. I'm just gifting her for being very patient with me and my work and my hobby. Okay, so I hope you love making your dresses for your babies or your toddlers or whoever you're making this for. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. So let's dig right into what we must be doing and what we should expect for this pattern. Okay, so first of all, this is how my back of the dress looks like. So basically this is a pinafore, and I love how fitting it is. I've tried it on her, so it fits perfectly. Okay, so these are the materials we are going to be needing for this tutorial. First and foremost, we are going to be working with size 2 yarn. Okay, I worked with acrylic yarn, so I doubled my strands. And then you'll need a 4.5 millimeter hook, yarn needle, buttons, and a pair of scissors. So let's go. So I am going to be working with the wattle stitch, and it's worked in sets of 3 plus 2. Okay, so for starters, I have 31 chains. All right, and with these 31 chains, I am going to work a single crochet into the second chain stitch from the hook. Okay, then here I am going to chain 1 and work a double crochet into this very same chain stitch. So from here I am going to skip 2. We shall count 1, 2, and into the next stitch I will work a single crochet, and then chain 1, work a double crochet into that very same stitch. Skip 2 stitches. Into the next stitch I work a single crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet into that very same stitch. Skip 2, work into the next stitch and work a single crochet, chain 1, then a double crochet, all in this very same stitch. So basically the reason as to why I say we work in sets of 3 is we have these 2 stitches we keep skipping and then working into the next stitch after those. So we are going to do the very same thing for this whole entire row. 31. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. Please make I meant to say we need to have 32 stitches. Okay, the one is the chain stitch that starts the row, and then the 31 chains are the ones that we need for the first row. I hope you get that. For the stitch for the stitch pattern we need 31, and then the plus 1, okay, is the one that starts the row. So basically we are working sets of 3 plus 2. That makes it 32. Okay, yes, so right here I will do the very same thing. I will chain, work a chain and then work a double crochet into this very same stitch, and here I'm going to skip the last 2 stitches, and into the very last stitch I will work a single crochet, just like that. So here I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and this is how we work the next row. If you look closely, we have this chain gap right here, and we have 2 stitches before that chain gap. So we are skipping the 2 stitches and working into the chain gap. So we work a single crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet, all in that very same chain gap. So skip 2, and then into the next chain gap we work a single crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet, all in this very same chain gap. All right, so basically for the next row for this second row, we start working into the chain gaps we have been creating on the first row. Okay, so once again, skip 2, into the chain gap you work a single crochet, and then chain 1, work a double crochet into that very same stitch. I'm sorry if this may not be very easy to understand for you. You can just use any other stitch pattern that is easier for you. I just love the texture of this, that's why I keep working with it. So do the very same thing, chain 1, work a double crochet, and then skip 2 stitches. Into the next chain gap you work 1 single crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet, all in that very same chain gap. So do that until the very last chain gap. As you can see here, I have this chain gap right there. So I am going to get in there. I'm going to get right into it right there and work my single crochet, and then chain one, work a double crochet into that very same chain gap. Now I'll find my way into the chain one that started the previous row right there, and then work a single crochet. So that's how we end our row. So let's work another row. Chain one, turn your work, skip the first 2 stitches, 1, 2, and now into that chain gap right there is where we work our single crochet. Okay, chain one, work a double crochet all in this very same chain gap, and skip 2, into the chain gap right there we work 1 single crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. Okay, and then skip 2 into the next chain gap. So basically, even if you just don't count the stitches you're skipping, just work into the chain gap. Just straight away go into the chain gap, work your single crochet, then chain 1, work a double crochet all in that very same chain gap. And you're going to do this until you get to the very last chain gap, because I want you guys to master how to end the row so you don't make mistakes. And then you have edges that are not clean. So I just need to show you how to end your row so you do not make mistakes. Okay, like I said, if this is hard for you to really understand, you can work with any other stitch pattern, or just look up for any tutorials about the wattle stitch and use that if you really want to use this very same stitch pattern. So right here, as you can see, this is my last chain gap. So I'll go in there, work a single crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet. And yes, I am going to find my way into the very last stitch, which is the chain 1 that started the previous row right there. So I'll work my single crochet to end my row. And this is how it looks like. I love the texture. I always count my V's and make sure they are of the same number from the previous row and this very row. So yes, we are going to do the very same thing repeatedly. Skip the first 2 stitches after you have chained 1 and turned your work. Then you will work a single crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet all in that very same stitch, and skip 2 into the next chain gap. You work a single crochet and chain 1, work a double crochet all in that very same chain gap. So guys, I am going to let you work this very same thing repeatedly until you have the length of the panel that I want, because I want this to be the front panel for my pinafore, and I really don't want it to be so long. I am looking forward to having about 4 inches for its length. The width is up to you according to how chubby your baby is. You can go a little wider, or you can just keep the same width that I have for mine. I am working this for a 3-4 months baby. She's not very chubby, so if you have a 3 months baby that is super chubby, you can size up a little bit, just a little bit. All right, yes. Because at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to having her have an inner sort of like shirt, because I feel like this is too open for her. So right here, how to end my row into the last chain gap, I do the very same thing, then find my way into the chain 1 that started the previous row, and I will work a single crochet. So that's it. Let's follow this very same thing until we have the length that we desire for our babies. Okay, and then I'll get back and show you what I have, and then we continue from there. So I actually just found I lost some clips, but let's go on from here. So once you have this, it's 6 inches. You are going to work chains and then work a slip stitch just like this. Okay, I personally worked about 65. Okay, also I got my light off along the way, but yes, work your chains and then work a slip stitch onto the other side and make sure it looks just like this. Okay, so let's get on from here. So once you have all 65 chains and you have worked your slip stitch, to start your next row, you will chain 2, and into this very first stitch we are going to work a double crochet, and then work 1 double crochet into the chain gap. Okay, and then work 1 double crochet into the double crochet stitch right there. Once again, we work a double crochet into the single crochet stitch. Yeah, right there into the single crochet stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the chain gap. Okay, right there, and then a double crochet into that double crochet stitch. So we are doing this because we don't want to miss out any stitches, okay, following the stitch pattern that we had. Now that we are changing our stitch pattern, this is what we do. Please don't care about the noises in the background. I always share that I work my videos with my baby and I don't have so much help around, so whenever I grab some time, I will either voice or record my tutorials. So sometimes she's always like speaking in the background and crying and something like that. So yes, just continue working your double crochets into every stitch all the way until you get to the chain stitches that we worked for our waist. And once you are there, we are going to do the very same thing. We are going to work one double crochet into every chain stitch all the way around until we get to the end of the chains, and then work a slip stitch into the chain two that started this row. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys run your way all the way around. After you have worked all your double crochets, please make sure that you have the very same number of stitches that you had when working the wattle stitch on this panel, on the front panel of our pinafore. Okay, so just to be accurate, you can just count your stitches before you start working your double crochets along the chain stitches that we have worked for the waistline. All right, so right here I work into the last stitches. And once I do that, I just want to leave you at the chain so it is easy for you guys, since we missed out a clip. Yes, so right here I will now just start working into every chain stitch all the way around. Okay, so let me let you go all the way around and then get back to show you what to do on the next row. And this is what I have. Okay, basically this is my first row for my waistline. All right, now I'm not going to be turning my work for the next 2 rows, so I'm going to chain 2, and into this very first stitch I will work my double crochet. Into the next stitch I'm going to work a back post double crochet right there, so I'll get through from the back and work my double crochet. Into the next stitch I will work a normal double crochet, and then into the next I will work a back post double crochet. Work a normal double crochet into the next stitch, and then a back post double crochet into the next. So I'm going to be doing this repeatedly for my whole entire waist. So basically this is the ribbing, more like the rib stitch. Okay, and I prefer the ribbing effect to be on the inside because I feel like when someone looks at it while it's on the outside, which is this right side that my work is facing, I feel like it's really common. Someone can easily figure out what stitch I worked with for my waist. So sometimes I just have the ribbing effect face the inside and then have my outside look like this. Okay, so I'm going to do this all the way around for all the stitches and then get back here and work a slip stitch. So I will do the very same thing for the next row as well. So I must have 2 more rows, sorry, so I must have a total of 3 rows for my waistline. All right, so let me get back after you have your 3 rows, or 3 rows for the waistline. And this is it. I have 3 rows, as you see. Okay, and this is how it looks like. So now I'm going to start working the body of the dress. All right, this for me is the outside. The ribbing effect is going to stay on the inside. I really don't want it outside. Unless you do, you can face it the other way around. So now from here I'm going to chain 2, and into this very first stitch I will work my double crochet, and then into the next stitch I'm going to work a front post double crochet. Okay, then once again another front post double crochet, all in this very same stitch. Work. So I'm going to work 2 front post double crochets into the next 2 stitches. So basically I'm working 1 front post into this stitch and another front post double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, Now into the next stitch after that, I am going to work 2 front post double crochets all in that very same stitch. So I'm going to get in right there for the second time and then work another double crochet. From here I will work 1 front post into the next stitch, do the very same thing for the next stitch as well, work 1 front post double crochet, and then 2 front post double crochets into the next stitch, all in this very same stitch. So basically we are working 2 stitches and then an increase after those 2 stitches. Okay, so 2 front post double crochets into the next 2 stitches. Please, I don't want you to confuse this. 2 front posts into the next 2 stitches, and then 2 front post double crochets into the next stitch. So that means for that next stitch we must have 2 front post double crochets all in one stitch. All right, so I'm going to have you guys do this all the way around. Okay, work your front post double crochets, 2 of them into the next 2 stitches, and then 2 front post double crochets into the next stitch. Okay, so do this all the way around. The reason as to why we are working that increase is more like to give us that baby doll dress effect, more like a flare effect, not to have our dress tight on the baby or fall flat like straight. So we want that sort of like A shape. Okay, so do it all the way around for all the stitches, get back and work a slip stitch into the second chain stitch that started the row. And here we are. I have come to the end of my very first row for the body of the dress. Okay, and this is how it looks like so far. Okay, that's the inside, and I want it to stay on the inside as much as it's looking super neat. Okay, but then let it stay on the inside. Unless you wanted that, you would, before you work this row, you would have changed your work like in out. Okay, so now for the next row I'm going to chain 2. Actually I really do have to turn my work. I almost made a mistake, so I'm turning my work and working my first double crochet into the very first stitch, and then I will work a double crochet into the next stitch as well, and I'm going to continue working just normal double crochets all the way. The reason as to why I worked front post double crochets is more like to get my work pop a little bit, like flare up a little bit. Okay, because if I work normal double crochets it would actually look flat, but you can see how it looks. Okay, so basically I'm going to let you do this all the way around, and this is how your work has to look like once you have everything done well. All right, now for this row I want to introduce some bubbles onto this dress because I feel like working just plain stitches is not going to like pull it off very well. So I'm going to chain 1 and work 1 single crochet into the very first stitch and do the very same thing for the next 4 stitches. Okay, so there we go. And now into this next stitch I am going to work 5 double crochets together. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the stitch and pull up a loop and make sure I have 6 loops on my hook. So those are 5. I'll get in there for my 6th loop and then yarn over, and I will pull through all 6 loops. So just like that. And now I am going to chain 1. I will work a single crochet into the next stitch, just like that, and I'm going to keep working 1 single crochet into every stitch until I have a total of 9 single crochets from the last bubble I worked. So I'm going to make sure there are 9 of them because I want a gap of 9 single crochets, then the 10th stitch should be a bubble. So yes, now into this next stitch I'm going to work 5 double crochets together. So I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into this very same stitch, pull up a loop and make sure I have 6 loops on my hook. Okay, those are 5, so I have one more to go, and I'll insert my hook, pull up a loop, and then now here I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 6 loops, chain 1, and I will work a single crochet into the next stitch. So I'll try to tap my bubble from the back so it pops up from the front. Okay, just try to do that, just in case your bubble is folding to the back. Just try to tap it so it pops to the front. Now from here I'm going to work 8 more single crochets to make it a total of 9 single crochets before I work the next bubble. Okay, so I literally want 9 single crochets before my next bubble all the way around my row. Okay, so I have 9, as you can see. Now into this very next stitch I am going to work 5 double crochets together, so that means I'm going to pull up loops until I have 6 loops on my hook, and once I have all 6 loops I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 6 loops. Okay, just like that, then chain 1 and work a single crochet right there. So I'll tap my bub a bit so it pops to the front. Now I am going to work a single crochet into that next stitch. See what we have? So basically I want you to do this all the way around repeatedly until you get at the end of the row right here and work a slip stitch. So I'll meet you there. So here we are. This is how my row looks like. I've come to the end of the row, so I want to take you through how to work the next row. So we are going to chain 2 and turn our work. So now I'm going to chain 2 and I will turn my work, and I'm going to work 1 double crochet into this very first stitch, just like that. And I'm going to continue working 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way around, but I just want to show you how to get past the bubbles, just in case some of you may confuse the stitches and maybe lose track on where to place a stitch. So as you can see, I am almost getting to my bubble, so I'm going to work a double crochet into that stitch and then get right there. Okay, so in between that bubble right there will look like there is a stitch you must place, but there isn't a stitch you must place. It may look like you have skipped working a stitch somewhere, but you shouldn't be working a stitch right there, or else you're going to have an increased number of stitches once you get to the end of your row, and you'll wonder where you placed so many stitches and not figuring it out. Okay, so you're going to keep working 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way around until you come to the end of your row, and then work a slip stitch into the second chain stitch of the 2 chains that started this row. So I'm going to let you go all the way around your row on your own. Okay, so I want us to have 3 rows of just double crochets. So this is the very first one after our row of bubbles, and now you are going to do the very same thing for the next 2 rows. Okay, so I'll get back once you have 3 normal rows from the row of bubbles that we had. Okay, so just work this all the way around and then make sure you have 2 more rows to make it 3. So here we are. This is how my work looks like so far. So to work this row, we are going to chain 1 and turn our work, of course. So I will work 1 single crochet into this very first stitch. Now this time I'm going to make sure I have 9 single crochets before my next bubble. Okay, so the previous row of bubbles I worked 5 single crochets, then the next stitch had a bubble. But because I want to interchange the position of my bubbles for this row, I am going to first work 9 single crochets, okay, then a bubble into the 10th stitch. Okay, so once I get to the 10th stitch, I'm going to work 5 double crochets together, just like I have been doing for my previous bubbles. And once I have all 6 loops on my hook, I'm going to yarn over, pull through all 6, and then work a single crochet into the next stitch. I will always tap my bubble so it pops to the front. So yes, I'm now going to work 9 single crochets. Sorry, I already had 1 single crochet, so I'm going to work 8 more to make it a total of 9 single crochets. Then I will work my next bubble. So as you can see, if you look at my first row of bubbles, you can see that now these bubbles are like in between, like I worked in between the first 2 bubbles, okay, just like that. So now once I have all 9 single crochets, I'm going to work 5 double crochets together into the next stitch. So I need to have 6 loops on my hook, and once I have that, yarn over, pull through all 6, and then work a chain 1 and work a single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, I'll tap my bubble so it pops to the front. Yes, so basically this is what you are going to do all the way around. Okay, all the way around, so it is that easy. So what is going to happen is I'm going to let you work the rest of the project on your own. Okay, so you're just going to copy what we did down here. Okay, so just work your 3 rows, no more double crochets, then work a row of bubbles. And what we did for our very first row of bubbles is what you're going to put on the next. Okay, so that means for the next row of bubbles, you're going to start with 5 single crochets at the start so that our bubbles are interchanging just like that. Okay, so just copy and paste what we did on the first row of bubbles, and then 3 rows of just normal double crochets, and then the next bubbles you start with 9 single crochets before your next bubble. Okay, so just do that and copy and paste right here until you have the length of the dress that you desire. So let me first show you how to work the back of the dress, and then we see how it looks like. Now I'm going to turn my work to the back. Okay, and I'm going to find the center of the back. It's better you count your stitches and then find a spot which will be the center. I can just look at mine and get to know where my center is. So for me, because I already counted my stitches, that's how easy it is for me. But for you, just to be accurate, count your stitches, get your stitch markers, and mark where you have to start your stitches from. Okay, because I want us to spare 15 stitches at the center of our back. So make sure the stitches you have on both sides are equal. Okay, so pull through yarn, chain 1, and then work 1 single crochet into every stitch on the back. Okay, so we are working on the foundation chains for our waist, and make sure you work a total of 15 single crochets. And if you are working for a size that is large, or you sized up a little bit, you can work up to like 20 single crochets instead of 15. Or if you're working for a chubby baby and you had sized up a little bit, okay, please make sure you work 20 single crochets at the center of your back. Okay, now I have all 15 single crochets. I am going to chain 2. Let me just add few more to make sure they are 15. Okay, so I'm just going to work yes, 1 more. So this is how it looks like. Make sure the stitches you have on both sides, on this side and the other side, are the same. Okay, so that will show that you're really actually at the center of your back. Now from here, I am going to chain 2 and turn my work. And into this very first stitch, I'm going to work a half double crochet. And I will continue working 1 half double crochet into every stitch until I come to the end of my row. So you must make sure that you have 15 half double crochets on this row once you come to the end of this row. So here I am at the end of my row. Okay, and now I am going to chain 2 and turn my work once again. and I'm going to work 1/2 double crochet into every stitch for all the 15 stitches that I have on this row. So I'm going to do this repeatedly until I have a total of 8 rows, okay? So including the single crochet row that started this back piece, okay? So so far we have 3 rows if I also count this one, and now I'm going to let you work the next 5 rows on your own, then I'll get back and show you what to do after that. So now I am going to work a split, okay? I'm going to work a split. So to do that, I am going to chain 2 and turn my work. And I'm going to work 1/2 double crochet into every stitch for the next 6 stitches. So just work this and make sure you have 6 stitches. Okay, there we go. So here, once I have all 6 stitches, I'm going to work 2 1/2 double crochets together into the next 2 stitches, just like that. Then I'll chain 2 and turn my work. Now I'm going to work 1/2 double crochet into every stitch until I come to the end of my row. So I must have a total of 7 1/2 double crochets. And I feel like this is the width I would love for my dress, okay? The width I would love for the strap of my dress. So I'm going to chain 2. Once I come to the end of this row, I am going to chain 2 and turn my work. Work 1/2 double crochet into every stitch until I get to the end of my row. So I must have 7 1/2 double crochets. And now I am going to do this repeatedly all the way until I have a total of 16 rows from the split, okay? From the row that I started to work this split, I must have 16 rows. So basically my strap is going to be of that kind of length, okay? So work, I have 3 rows worked, so I'm going to work 13 more rows. Then I'm going to have this strap come to the front and tie right here, okay? So that means I must have 2 straps at the back, okay? So when you have this strap done, so you work the second strap here, so it comes and closes right here. So we have 2 straps, okay? Now also work your dress all the way down until you have the length you desire. So I'm going to get back and show you how to make closure. So so far this is how my dress looks like. As you can see, on the very last row I worked a few picots to have a clean edge, okay? A clean edge for my dress. So just to explain that, if you look closely, I worked my last row of double crochets. So I have 1 double crochet right here, and then the next double crochet has a picot on top of it. So just in case you're not familiar with picots, please just search a few tutorials about picots, then you will know what to do and how to go about them and create them, okay? So this is it. And now if you see, this is my front piece, and now this is the back of the piece. These are the 2 straps that I told you guys to make, and that's how it looks like. So as you can see, the split is really clean and it's thick enough for, you know, for great support for this dress, okay? And if you see, I have 16 rows, okay, in total. And I'm going to have buttons placed right here. I'm going to have 2 buttons. Also this side, I may place 2 here and then 2 here, I'm not sure, okay? But then yes, I'm going to have 2 buttons, so they fold to the front. Now I'm going to work along this edge, so I create holes for where my buttons are going to sit, okay? So I'm going to get my yarn, and I'm just going to find anywhere at the edge or at the corner of my foundation chains that started this dress, or the front panel, and I'll get my hook, insert my hook in there, pull through a loop, and chain one, and then work a single crochet into that very same stitch. I just need to secure this. Okay, so work my single crochet in there, and remember I was skipping 2 stitches before I worked the next stitch. So just to make sure that we have the same number of stitches as our foundation chains, we are going to make sure that we work into every stitch. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys work your single crochets all the way until the end of this row, and I'll make sure that I have the very same number of stitches that I had when starting my project. So here we are. This is how it looks like. Okay, now I'm going to work my row that is going to have those holes for my buttons. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to chain one and turn my work. And remember, I have 7 stitches for this strap. Okay, so I need to make sure that I have 2 buttonholes because I plan on having 2 buttons. So into this very first stitch, I am going to work a single crochet and then work 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Now I am now going to chain 1 and skip 1, work a single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, my buttonholes are really going to be very small because I'm going to work with small buttons. If I make a big hole, my buttons will not actually fasten. So that's why I chained 1, but you can chain 2 if you wish and skip any number of stitches that you wish to skip given the size of your buttons. So I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the next stitch as well, and then chain 1, skip 1, work a single crochet into the next stitch. So that gives me 2 buttonholes. Now I am going to make sure that I use 8 stitches on the other side of this panel. Okay, so I'm first going to count 8 stitches onto the other side, which is the left side, and mark the 8th stitch. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let me count what I have left. 9, 10. So I have 10 stitches, and now I'm just going to be counting my stitches because I didn't want to use my stitch marker. So just count your stitches and make sure you have those number of stitches that you should have before you get to where you have to place your buttonholes for your second strap. All right, let me see. So just like we started on this side, it's what we are going to apply on this side as well. Okay, so I'm going to work my single crochet in there, and then I will chain 1, skip 1, work a single crochet into the next stitch, work a single crochet once again in the next stitch. So I have 1 buttonhole. Now for the second, I chain 1 still, skip 1, and then work a single crochet into the next stitch, and into the very last stitch I work a single crochet. So I have 2 buttonholes. Okay, and from here I'm confident that my project is actually complete. I only have to hand sew my buttons onto the straps, and yes, you have your dress complete. So I'm going to weave in my ends later. Let me I'm going to get off and hand sew my buttons onto the straps, but first of all let me show you how to place your drawstring around the waist so that our dress fits the baby very, very well. So you will mark what you call the center of your front, and then pull through your drawstring just like that. Please make sure that these is it front posts double crochet, you have to make sure that you're passing the drawstring behind them. Okay, so that they keep popping as front post double crochets. All right, so just get your drawstring all the way around the waist. Okay, it should be placed into the second row of the ribbing because we had 3 rows of the rib stitch. Okay, So do this all the way around. You can add tassels to the end of your dress string, and then you have your dress complete. So thank you so much for watching and also following me through my tutorial to have a little gift to my daughter for being very patient with me. Okay, so this is my little gift to her, and thank you so much for following through. I hope you love the dresses you make for your babies. See you all in my next tutorial. Goodbye.